Hello mga higala! This is the PCCCs Oath-Taking Ceremony or panunumpa ng katungkulan.
Panunumpa sa katungkulan ng ating mga bagong opisyal, bagong halal na opisyal ng PCCC. Gagawin po natin lahat ng mga opisyal taas ng kanan kamay kapag makapagsimula tayo ng panunumpa. At paki-ulit lang po ng mga sasabihin ko. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties of the Philippine Community Coordinating Council. To the best of my knowledge and ability, without favoring any person, group or affiliation, that I will abide by the Constitution of the PCCC, and that I voluntarily impose this obligation upon myself without mental reservation. So help me God. Mabuhay po ang bagong mga opisyal ng halal PCCC. There are two things that I'd like to mention here. And I want to impart this to you. In law, sa batas po, may dalawang uring batas. There are two kinds of laws. There are laws, which you are familiar with, that prohibits you from doing things. Binabawalan kayo na gawin ang isang bagay. Pag ginawa ninyo yung pinagbabawal, paparusahan kayo. Usually imprisonment in case of criminal laws. Meron namang batas na kailangan gawin ninyo yung isang bagay. So, it's either a law that tells you do not do this thing, or a law that tells you do this thing. The other aspect of that law, the other kind of that law, is not too familiar with many of us, except for those in cases of taxation. When a tax law is implemented to all the people in a particular country, you have to follow it, you have to pay your taxes. That's just one of the examples. But I'm not going to talk about the law of taxation. What I'm just going to tell you is the distinction that there are two types of laws and the consequences and context between these two types of laws have quite different impetus. Law that tells you, compels you to do something, that's on one side, and a law that prohibits you from doing things. And that's the most common type or the most familiar to most people. Why am I bringing this out? Because the first statement that I told you, whatever you do to the least of my brothers, has context to two other tenets of Christianity. Or not only for Catholicism, but for Christianity. People before, and for one person, I don't know whether he was joking, I was in my previous assignment, I asked him, are you familiar with the golden rule? That's more or less a law. Oh, yes, Consul, sir. Golden rule is he who has the gold makes the rules. That's the other golden rule. But the golden rule, if you remember it from your youth, your lola, your mama have told it to you, is this: do not do unto others what you do not want others to do unto you. That's actually the context of the golden rule. But the golden rule is couched in the negative. And for some people, they don't distinguish. When asked what the golden rule is, they will tell you the other aspect of it, the positive side, which is do unto others what you want others to. It has almost the same meaning and probably the same consequences. But the context is different. In the first part, which is really the golden rule, do not do unto others what you do not want others to do unto you. It's actually a prohibition for you not to do things that will affect or impact others negatively. And the basic thing for you to admonish yourself is, if you do not want it to be done to you, don't do it to others. It's actually a prohibition. The other side is actually positive. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. You're now in the active state. I have to do this, I have to be good, because I want others to be good to me. The other is different. I do not have to be bad, because I do not want bad things to be done to me. Bakit? Ayun. But they are neutralized by what I just told you. Whatever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. That is a tenet in Catholicism, in Christianity, that is neutral. Because if you do good things based on that, what you do to the least of your brothers, it has an effect on you positively or negatively. If you do bad to your brothers, if you do good to your brothers, it has an effect on you positively or negatively. That's the reason why it's central, a central tenet to our belief as Christians, to what we are, our nature, as Catholics or Christians. But there's an aspect to that I'd like to delve in. Please forgive me, that's going to take a little longer, but just a shorter period of time now. When you say, whatever you do to the least of my brothers, the other component there is to the least of my brothers. And that's where I come in. As one of your advisors or gabay sa gobyerno natin. And this is who are the least of my brothers. And this is where I'm coming in. A lot of you to do basically what you want here in Japan. Why? Because you're more comfortable. Proof of this is you can afford to send whatever surplus that you have to your families and friends back in the Philippines. They are actually the least of our brothers in the Philippines. But here in Japan, there are also kababayans who are the least of our brothers or sisters. And who are they? Generally, and I'm going to tell you this, ito yung mga TNT dito. Okay. And I have to bring that tenet of Christianity because it's not something that's meant to be preached only in church. You have to do it individually. Why? Because you may know people who are TNTs. And these TNTs are afraid of a lot of things because they are in the sub to Japanese society illegally. So the first message here is, as far as the Philippine Consulate General is concerned, as far as our team is concerned, we don't distinguish between TNT and non-TNT as Filipinos. I want you to spread that word. Why? Because those who are in need of the consulate's help, those who are in need of assistance, are those who are TNTs here. And those are the people that you need to help. Does it mean to say that I'm encouraging Filipinos here to be TNTs? No. Because we have also taken the obligation as representatives of your government to uphold faithfully the laws and regulations of the host country, Japan. And they are more or less in violation of some of the encourage Filipinos to do that because that's going to be impolite to our host. But what I'm saying is, if they ask for our help, we don't distinguish. Spread the word. When I was in my previous assignment and the TNT comes to the embassy, a lot of them are telling me, Consul, ayaw namin pumunta kasi baka kami isumbong ninyo sa gobyerno. Ma-report kami. Sabi ko, hindi kami ganun. Kung kailangan nyo magpa-renew ng passport, pumunta kayo dito. Hindi namin tinatanong kung TNT kayo o hindi. Tutulungan namin kayo. Okay? Kailangan ninyo magpa-record, kailangan ninyo ng dokumento, kailangan ninyo magpakasal, magpa-record ng kasal, pumunta kayo sa akin. Yun yung aking gustong iparating sa inyo ngayon. Kasi doon sa kung saan ako dati na destino, hindi naman ang konsulado. Nagre-refer lang kami. Pag mayroong gustong takot na TNT at gusto nang umuwi, ang unang tanong ko, bakit ka uuwi? Sir, di na ako makatrabaho, mahirap, mahuhuli ako, tinanggal na ako sa trabaho. So ang tanong ko, gusto mo pa ba? Kung meron kang pagkakataong magtrabaho, gusto mo pa ba? Eh kung pwede po. And then I refer them to people like you who can give and help them do jobs. And I turn a blind eye. That's the context of what I can say. So we don't distinguish. And I urge you to help. Help each other, and then especially those who are the least of our brothers and sisters. Having said that, one last part, I'm going to report to you something that we've done in the Consulate. Recently, are those who are in the entertainment industry. And recently, there was a jurisdiction, I'm not going to mention to you until they are out. They've been detained for practically an indefinite period of time. 3 of our kababayans for quote-unquote violating their working conditions. Ano daw? Nag-table daw. Pero bawal daw yung table. Pero nag-table sila, ni-raid, kinulong. So ang tanong ko, yung mga taong yun ba ay gusto nang umuwi? Ang sabi ko, nung nahuli sila, may ticket na sila, hindi na nagamit. Uuwi na dapat sila. Eh sabi ko, bakit hindi sila pinakawalan? As of last week, I asked my main consultant at TNT, kung kayong umalis, kayong babalik dito sa konsulado, hanggang hindi sila napapakawalan, dahil mahigit 2 buwan na silang hindi napakawalan. They're going to be released for exerting the power of the consulate to make sure and sisters. I also urge you in your own small way to do the same. Details, we'll talk more about it in our next meeting. And what I can just tell you right now, I'm thankful for you for having us invited here in your community. I've told the officers of PCCC that we need the help of the Filipino community to record who are the Filipinos in your respective communities. Why? 2 things. First, to check if the records based on the Japanese government figures are the same as the records that we actually see and meet in the various communities. That's the first thing. To establish integrity of the records of how many Filipinos there are. Because while there are full total, the full total, in my jurisdiction of how many Filipinos there are, we don't know where they are. And
Sana po ay may natutunan kayo mula sa ating Philippine Consulate General ng Osaka, Honorable Voltaire Mauricio. For your personal concerns on passport schedules and renewals and foreign affairs matters, you can contact us through this YouTube channel or directly to the Philippine Consulate General's office. Mabuhay ka, kabayan, at mabuhay ang migrante at manggagawang Pilipino.